Masona at the Sign Language Desk.
It is great to be with you tonight. My name is Butler Nepure and these are tonight's top stories.
President Mnangagwa reiterates the importance of strengthening the agricultural sector for food self-sufficiency.
Well, the government is calling on wheat farmers to double their efforts to ensure they meet the winter wheat planting deadline, which is this Saturday.
And in sport, dates set for the Premier Soccer League and Women Premier Soccer elections.
Straight to our leading story tonight, President Emmerson Mnangagwa has reiterated the importance of strengthening the agricultural sector to achieve self-sufficiency and support economic growth.
He was speaking during an interface with the ZANU-PF Politburo and Central Committee members who toured Pre-Cape Farm this weekend. And we get the details in the next report.
We must be able to be self-sufficient in food, and that responsibility is ours.
A clear message outlining the national vision to strengthening food security, President Emmerson Mnangagwa once again called for action towards strengthening agricultural production as a catalyst to economic growth, as well as ensuring sufficiency in grain and cereal production. At a tour of the Pre-Cape farm in Kwekwe by ZANU-PF Politburo and Central Committee members this weekend, President Mnangagwa noted there should be enhanced focus on productivity to ensure food security beginning at household level.
Inosungirwa to be fed by its own people. Iritirwe nevaridzi imwe ndiyo varidzi vayo. Nyaya dzokuti Zimbabwe igo importa food nandidzifariri.
Within the last 5 years, the agricultural sector has been on a massive resurgence, posting record grain and cereal output between 2021 and 2023. This success has been attributed to the conducive policies and robust approach embraced by President Mnangagwa's administration that also emphasizes strategic planning.
We must measure ourselves with the best. Try always to find somebody who does better than you. That's the only way you can develop. If you want to develop, match yourself with the best available. Ndikangonza kuti kuno mwaneta matenza akati kana ku South Africa kana ndokupi Patrick kana ndendoko. Ndandowona kuti how does that person achieve matanzi iwayo? Otora manotes to garapasi. Then we try to do the same and beat his record. Kata tabita record yo totsvaka umwe kuna umwe era anotikunda tikangomunzwa toendoko. So that's how it should be.
The head of state's vision for a thriving agricultural sector aims to ring-fence the gains achieved so far, while also working to expand the country's export capacity for agricultural products.
I'm happy. Ikedu is quiet, it's peaceful. Because of that, we are registering progress. Many countries admire our peace. They admire our progress. We are food secure and we have food security in the country. Why? Because we are productive ourselves. We don't need only to remain being food sufficient. We must have food surplus. Kutitengese, tatengesa, tunaona mariza kuzotenga michina, matarakita, chini, maplanta. Kutira petichi kurudzira kulima kwedu kune modern methods.
The call to action by President Mnangagwa comes as the country projects a sharp rebound of maize harvest for the 2024-2025 summer cropping season, with an estimated production of 2.3 million metric tons. Theophilus Chuma, ZBC News, Harare.
SADC chairperson President Emmerson Mnangagwa has underscored the need for international financial institutions to be reformed to ensure fair terms for Africa. This was one of the key takeaways from his message to mark Africa Day this Sunday.
Elevating Africa's voice is of urgent and strategic necessity for consolidating equality of nations as enshrined in the United Nations Charter, as well as fostering inclusive global governance, peace, security, and prosperity. Zimbabwe joins Africa in calling for a more representative and inclusive global political and financial architecture. Africa's voice with regards to our unique challenges, including conflicts, the debt albatross, climate change, and economic disparities, among others, must be heard in the discourse that shapes global peace and security towards sustainable social and economic development. The imperative for reforms of the international financial institutions to ensure fair terms for Africa is of urgent importance to us. Our nations can no longer be bound by exclusionary relics of colonialism that perpetuate inequality. On its part, Zimbabwe will therefore continue to take ownership and the charge of our development trajectory, leveraging on our homegrown solutions and the rich natural resource endowments.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa there speaking as the country joined the rest of the continent in marking Africa Day. Now, Zimbabwe is among the African countries that continue to celebrate iconic revolutionaries who have supported the African cause. Our reporter Festus Mukunguruse was in the streets of Harare to speak to different people and check on how much knowledge they do have regarding the African icons.
Behind me is Sam Nujoma Street, named after Namibia's founding president who dedicated his life to the nation's struggle against apartheid. In the spirit of celebrating Africa Day, we set out to have a conversation with people in the streets of Harare on how much they know about the African liberation icons after which the streets were named.
Julius Nyerere. It was named after President of Tanzania, the late Mwalimu Julius Nyerere. For history, for our children, how Africa kuti yakasunungurwa sei, Zimbabwe kuti tine Zimbabwe nhasi yakasunungurwa sei.
Muno muZimbabwe tine street inonzi Agostino Neto rakapiwa zita naVice President wekuAngola. Zvakanakira kuti tichengetedze nhoroondo yakabva Africa kusvika payave nhasi.
Tine street inonzi Nelson Mandela uyo akarwira rusununguko rwenyika yeSouth Africa. Zvinotibatsira kuti tirambe tine ruzivo rwokuti vanhu ava ndivo vakaita kuti tirambe tine rusununguko.
Tine mugwagwa unozi Kenneth Kaunda womutungamiri wekutanga wekuZambia. Nyika dzakaita sana Zambia dzakabatsiridza kuti nyika ino ione rusununguko.
In addition to streets named in honor of African anti-colonial icons such as Samora Machel, Sam Nujoma, Julius Nyerere, Kenneth Kaunda, Angwa Street has been renamed Sir Seretse Khama, Botswana's first president. Speak Avenue has become Agostinho Neto after Angola's first president, while Rotten Row was named after a prominent Egyptian revolutionary leader, Gamal Abdel Nasser. In Bulawayo, Livingstone Avenue was named in honor of South African anti-apartheid leader Oliver Tambo. The Africanization of street names and freedom of the continent. Festus Mukunguruse, ZBC News, Harare.
Icons has been cited as critical in honoring them for their role in the attainment of independence of the country.
A sculptor of the Mbuyane Handa statue in Harare, Alderman Guy Mutasa, says raising statues of liberation heroes is a way of preserving Zimbabwe's history, a common practice in many countries across the world. Alderman Mutasa visited the site this Monday to clean the statue in commemoration of Africa Day, 3 years after it was erected at the site where Samora Machel Avenue and Julius Nyerere Way converge in the capital.
Mbuyane statue is actually the right place where it has been placed. I don't know. Probably it was a spiritual guidance that came to the minds of the people who decided to erect the history of our first Chimurenga because of Mbuyane.
Alderman Mutasa is also known for designing and constructing the Zimbabwe bird sculpture at the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe building in Harare upon completion of the bank in 1991. Owen Mandova, ZBC News, Harare.
Now, Africa has been challenged to push forward an agenda of development, peace and unity. This coming as the continent marked Africa Day.
It was a day of celebrating the diverse people and culture and a united approach in Africa's independence and sovereignty, with music, dance and fashion being the largest conveyor of the African culture and a communication tool. Celebrations to mark Africa Day 2025 were littered with the African identity and the spirit of unity within the continent. Zimbabwe was the perfect host, giving the delegates a taste of the country's national fabric, launched by the First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, and described by President Emmerson Mnangagwa as a representation of what is important to the country, from the Zimbabwe bird to the chevrons of the Great Zimbabwe and the colors of the Zimbabwe flag. Marking the day, a Dean of the African Ambassadors and Rwanda's envoy, His Excellency James Musoni, said, while Africa celebrates unity in diversity, justice for what the African continent was subjugated to is imperative.
This year's theme underscores Africa Union's vital and long overdue call to action to recognize historical injustices, promote healing, and pursue meaningful reparative justice for Africans and people of Africa descent around the world. It reflects our collective commitment to equity, dignity, and restoration of rights and opportunities that were long denied through colonialism, slavery, and systematic discrimination.
For the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Professor Amon Murwira, true justice cannot exist without equal representation on all fora.
True justice cannot exist without representation and the ability to influence decisions that reflect our lives and our communities. In this regard, political representation of Africa becomes vital, ensuring that Africans and people of African descent have a voice at all levels of global governance decision-making.
Celebrating 62 years of Pan-Africanism and unity of purpose was capped off with an exchange of African cuisine, and as the Shona proverb goes, ukama igasha unozadzikiswa nekudya. Olina Ndori, ZBC News.
This year's edition of Amai's traditional cookout competition finals.
Mabidi Stadium in Bedbridge's Matabeleland South Province teemed with the savory aroma of mouth-watering dishes and sweet treats that were being prepared on outdoor fireplaces at the national finals of this year's edition of Amai's traditional cookout competition. Characterized by pomp and fanfare, the event, which coincided with Africa Day celebrations, attracted thousands of people from across the country's provinces, among them government ministers, students, tourism enthusiasts, community members, and traditional chiefs, reflecting the diversity of the country's traditional foods, which are highly nutritious and medicinal. Since then, the Ministry of Tourism and Hospitality Industry has been overseeing the implemented to a regional competition that has now garnered international recognition. Owing to Dr. Mnangagwa's efforts in promoting gastronomy tourism, Zimbabwe hosted diverse culinary talents from across the continent during the inaugural United Nations Tourism Regional Forum for Africa in Victoria Falls last year. The food conference was held in honor of Dr. Mnangagwa beyond the country's borders. Amai's traditional cookout competition, which started as a female-dominated initiative, has been extended to students, professional chefs, persons with disabilities, inmates, and churches. Participants at the competitions were representative of all the country's 10 provinces. They all showcased unique dishes from their provinces, which include manyanya, gwatakwata, wiza, pumpkin and sweet potato fritters, majuru, shomwe, makere, matemba drumsticks, marula maheu, thorny cucumbers juice, umqaqqa, juice yesindambe, mabumbe, ishwa, harurwa, mashajari, bambaira crush, isingwa somfahla, magogoya, and nyemba balls. Not to be outdone is the Sen community, which showcased millet sadza served with madora, okra, dried meat, and wild fruits. Dr. Mnangagwa, who has been at the forefront of promoting traditional dishes, had a large kitchen stall where she prepared mouth-watering dishes with the help of government ministers. In Dr. Mnangagwa's kitchen, guests could find local treats including the roadrunner chicken, sadzaremunga, dried vegetables in peanut butter, roasted beef, chinyenze, mupunga onidovi, mutakura, madora, biltong with peanut butter, matemba, magurini matumbu, and high firidzi. Guests also had the opportunity to indulge in some wild fruit juices, including mapfura wine and traditional brew, popularly known as 7 days. Amai and the delegation toured stands where over 80 contestants displayed their cooking prowess, much to the delight of onlookers. Addressing scores of people who came to witness the historic event, Amai Mnangagwa said the cookout program was born out of the need to promote healthy eating habits and preserve the country's rich cultural heritage. Dr. Mnangagwa reiterated she was impressed by the overwhelming response the program has received across the country, as witnessed by the huge participation of contestants of all age groups, including students, people with disabilities, and inmates, as well as the uptake of traditional foods by the general public.
Globally, gastronomy tourism is emerging as a lucrative niche in the tourism sector with great potential to catalyze inclusive socio-economic growth of nations. It is also an important pillar for safeguarding our rich cultural heritage and a key driver for a healthy well-being with great potential to reduce non-communicable diseases threatening human lives. This is a moment to celebrate victory. We have overcome the challenge of phobia towards traditional dishes among the general populace. This milestone can be sustained by continuing to prepare innovative traditional dishes with modern twists and flavors that appeal to all age groups, as so brilliantly demonstrated by our contestants today. During the tour of stands, we witnessed a variety of nutritious traditional dishes prepared by the contestants today, demonstrating a high degree of expertise and creativity, such as cakes from Rio, Mapunde. Today's travelers have changed their tastes and preferences. They are now after local and familiar dishes which are healthy and create lasting memories.
The Mother of the Nation acknowledged how the local gastronomy initiatives she is spearheading have transcended beyond the country's borders.
To ensure a sustainable gastronomy tourism program, Zimbabwe was accorded the opportunity to build a UN Tourism Academy in Victoria Falls to train Zimbabwean students as well as students from the SADC region and Africa as a whole. Zimbabwe hosted the first ever UN Tourism Regional Forum on Gastronomy Tourism for Africa in 2024 in Victoria Falls. To this end, the forum is now on UN tourism calendar as an annual event to be hosted by African countries on rotational basis. The second UN tourism regional from us, Zimbabwe, was held in Tanzania in April this year, and I was also honored to attend as a special guest speaker and shared with other countries the Zimbabwe's experience in promoting gastronomy tourism, signifying our efforts in ushering in a new era for gastronomy tourism in Africa. The presence of Zimbabwean cuisine has grown remarkably, from local recognition to regional appreciation and now to international acclaim. Notably, Zimbabwe participated in the inaugural Paris 17 International Gastronomy Forum and the UNESCO Gastronomy Festival. I had the pleasure of witnessing French nationals and other international visitors enjoying our food, music and dance, drink and gastronomy fashion. I have deliberately intertwined gastronomy tourism with other related programs to ensure sustainability of our culture and heritage. Recently, we launched the agro-tourism for She in Buyera, where we expect the ministries responsible for agriculture and tourism to work closely together and encourage our communities to venture into agricultural activities that seek to further their economic benefits.
Minister of Tourism and Hospitality Industry, Honorable Barbara Rodzi, paid tribute to the First Lady for being at the forefront as the country moves towards becoming a leader in gastronomy tourism.
Zimbabwe yakuzikanwa yo excellency zvakanyanyisa kubva ipapo pamaka uya kuzoitwa honored neUnited Nations ku Victoria Falls muna July. Takaona vashanyi vedu vachikwira manamba nemanamba. Nasu uno Zimbabwe yanzi iyo mu Africa ndiyo nyika yechi-6 kunyanya kushanyirwa mu Africa kubva pakauya United Nations. Nekuda kwe gastronomy tourism yamakatidzidzisa iyo excellency zvakuendeka vanhu vakuziva kuti kuZimbabwe kwakanaka.
Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Matabeleland South Province, Honorable Albert Nguluve, was excited to host this year's edition of Amai's Traditional Cookout Competition Finals.
As the Rainbow Province, with vaunt of diverse cultures, which includes Venda, Kalanga, Sutu, Ndebele, and Tswana, each contributing a unique flavor to our provincial identity. Allow me to highlight that Amai's Cookout Competition is a celebration of this diversity, reminding us that our differences are our strength and our unity is our power.
Participants at the event commended the First Lady for taking local food production systems to another level. Knowledge Hirenje, an inmate at Kwekwe Prison, represented Midlands Province well after winning the first prize in the community category, earning himself cash prize, a 4-plate gas stove, gas cylinder, and a food hamper. Carol White from Yadira Teachers College in Mashonaland East Province emerged the overall winner in the students category. Kenneth Buzuzu from Manicaland Province Holiday Inn Hotel was crowned the winner in the professional chefs category. Stembeland Love from Matabeleland South won the first prize in the people with disabilities category. All first prize winners walked away with 2,500 United States dollars, 4-plate gas stoves, gas cylinders, and food hampers. The highlight of the program was when a Chinese national, Mr. Ganzhou, showcased his prowess in making Zimbabwean dishes. His efforts were not in vain since he emerged the third prize winner in the professional chefs category. The winners were over the moon paid tribute to Dr. Mnangagwa for an inclusive approach.
Kwangu mchirongwa ichi zvaratidza kuti amai vedu havasarudzi vanoda vana vavo vese venyika uye vanototora nenzira yakakosha. Toda kutenda nekutendwa kuwana mukana wekutobuda pazve tichiita this cookout from prison. Uye patodzokera kunokurudzira vamwe nekuvabatsira kuti vaone kukosha kwechirongwa ichi kuti uri mukati meprison unogona kutoena maybe something changa usingagoni kuzoena panguva iyo yaunenge uri pashe. So pandiri kudzokera kuKwekwe prison ndonodzidzisa vamwe uye nekuvabatsira kuti vagamuchire chirongwa ichi nekuchitora nenzira yakakosha kuti tigone kuzovabatsira pavanobuda mumaprison.
Ndoda kutenda mama mai Mnangagwa nekutigadzira urongwa kuti tikwanise kuti tinge tichibika traditional food kuti tikwanise kufarira chikafu chedu chemuno muZimbabwe. Ndoda kuvatenda nekutipa mapuraizi avatipa kuti tikwanise kusimudzira muupenyu hwedu. Ndoda kuzovhura restaurant yekuti vanhu vekunze vanouya vachidya parestaurant yavo.
Buhlewenkosi Nkala from Matabeleland South, who won the first prize in the community category in 2024, highlighted how Amai's traditional cookout competition has transformed their life.
Sengimanejile ukuqalisa amabhizinisi ami, sengile nkomo, sengile nkukhu sengile mbuzi konke lokho ngikwenze after ukuwina kwamama competition. Ngiyabonga mama kakhulu ngalokho elingenzele khona sengikwazi ukuthi ngiemploy about 15 abantu lokuphekela abantu abangu-1500 and ngiyathaba kakhulu ukuthi libuyile emzingwane. Ngithanda loku-encourage ama-youth ukuthi I did it labo bayakwanisa ukukwenza khona lokho.
In her benevolence, Dr. Mnangagwa donated food hampers to some of the elderly people and child-aided families. They expressed gratitude to the First Lady.
Ngiyabonga into eyenze ngumama. Ndusinika izinto sizuza impuphu ini konke asithabile bakithi sitabile. Ngiyabonga ngwamawe, ngiyabonga nothusa abana banu, nothusa Zimbabwe yonke. Not Koripa ngo ha unathunda dotala ziwana futhi nganthani hayini bamawe ngifuna ngamanda.
Pregnant women were also gifted with baby preparation kits. And Murizo, Diana Samkange and several cultural groups entertained the crowd. Colette Msanyera, ZBC News, Great Bridge.
Now, 4 people died while several others were injured when a Govesburg bus collided with a tractor along the Masvingo highway today.
The bus, which was coming from Gweru, allegedly tried to overtake a tractor before seeing an oncoming vehicle. The bus driver is believed to have tried to avoid a head-on collision by returning to his lane before hitting the tractor, resulting in the accident. Survivors who are admitted at Masvingo General Hospital narrated their ordeal, accusing the driver of speeding.
Driver problem engaichitamuzwana ranasi ndeko overtake. First accident nditafuna kuita pale jina Mondi but azokulumza bata ma brakes. Then pane iyi yatazoita iyi tadarika mashava. Panga pane tractor engari kumberi kwedu. And then tractor iyi yanga ine trailer. So trailer ye tractor iyi yanga yakanojika chi rimwe lane. Ye driver anga try ku overtake ari padhuze nechi ne trailer saka bva nopindana ne trailer iya
basi from the way to go pandari kwirira pamnyati anga siri stable anga achimanya sapa panisukuzoti pasoda ku overtake azoita sendu ba yasvika ikarovera patractor
na driver anga speed achitombobuda muleni make.
Masvingo Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Ezra Chadzamira, has visited the accident victims admitted at Masvingo General Hospital.
Tandeya tikaona kuti mainjuries aripo asi vanhu vari kuatendewa zvakanaka. Tinoti zvekune vachairi vemabhazi nokuti bhazi iri ranga richimanya zvikuru vazive kuti vakasenga upenyu hwevanhu hunokosha.
We received a bus crash accident. 40 injured passengers were brought to our hospital. Unfortunately, one passed away on arrival. The other 39 are still receiving attention.
Authorities are on record calling on drivers to be cautious on the roads to avoid accidents. Mays Martina, ZBC News, Masvingo.
The Southern African Development Community member states are converging virtually this week to deliberate on the region's food security situation. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development, Professor Obed Jiri, who attended a virtual meeting of SADC senior officials this Monday, speaks on the scope of the engagement.
The meeting of senior officials kicked off this morning with us looking at various issues, including the food situation in SADC and also the agro-value chain situation in SADC. We are also looking at the water situation and the other value chains such as rice and potatoes, soybean, which we are looking at as SADC. So the meeting really is looking at those submissions which affect our food situation in SADC in the member states. We will make recommendations to the ministers' meeting, which will happen on Friday. And so we have started well, and we are looking at all these issues of food, of early warning systems, of agro-value chains, of water resources, and trade issues in SADC in as much as the agriculture sector is concerned.
Right, Professor Obedjiri there speaking. Now, government is collaborating with various contractors to accelerate the rehabilitation of trunk roads, including the Bide Bridge Bulawayo and Bulawayo Victoria Falls Road.
The Ministry of Transport and Infrastructural Development has revealed an ambitious target of completing the Bulawayo Victoria Falls Road upgrade within 10 months through mobilizing all the contractors. The developments were confirmed by Transport and Infrastructural Development Minister Honorable Felix Mona while giving a ministerial statement on the state of roads in Senate recently.
The Bulawayo Victoria Falls Road. This is a major regional trunk road that provides access to one of the 7 wonders of the world and UNESCO World Heritage Site, the majestic Mosiwatunya Victoria Falls. It links countries north of Zimbabwe, namely Zambia, Tanzania, and the Democratic Republic of Congo, to the ports of South Africa. Indeed, the road condition has deteriorated over the past few years as the road has exceeded its design life and due to increased loading as a result of the high investment required to rehabilitate and upgrade the road to international standards. Bitumen World was contracted in 2023 to attend to critical sections about 60 kilometers under the Emergency Road Rehabilitation Program 2 and pothole patching of the rest of the road from Bay Bridge to Victoria Falls. To ensure sustainable navigable road in the foreseeable future of 7 years, the ministry is in the process of procuring the services of other contractors to work on the Bulawayo Victoria Falls section of the road, still within the emergency road rehabilitation framework. We hope that these emergency works by the additional contractors will be completed in 10 months.
Meanwhile, feasibility studies for the rehabilitation of the Bide Bridge Bulawayo Highway are underway.
In October 2024, the ministry got a cabinet approval for a partnership between the ministry and Bitumen World to finance, upgrade and maintain the Bide Bridge Bulawayo Victoria Falls Road through a PPP arrangement. To date, the partnership is working on the feasibility studies for the road with the view that Bitumen World commences works on the Bide Bridge Bulawayo stretch. Madam President, allow me to also highlight the projects we are focusing. The ministry is targeting the following projects. For the Masvingo Bide Bridge Road, the North-South Corridor project connecting South Africa through Bay Bridge to the capital city, which is Harare. The total open section to date is 492.9 kilometers, whilst 87.1 kilometer is remaining.
This week, President Emmerson Mnangagwa is expected to commission another significant milestone in the country's road infrastructure, the Trabablas traffic interchange. The Trabablas traffic interchange is testimony to the country's appetite and broader strategy to modernize its road network, facilitating efficient movement of goods and people within the country and along the vital North-South corridor. John Nandara, ZBC News, Harare.
Now, for these and more stories, do visit our website. That's www.zbc.co.zw. You can also visit us on our socials. You can follow us, like us, and also subscribe. That's on Facebook, X, and YouTube. And our handle is @ZBC News Online.
Well, there are more stories to expect on this bulletin, and this is what you can look forward to. The government calling on wheat farmers to double their efforts to ensure they meet the winter wheat planting deadline. That deadline is this Saturday. And in sport, we'll be looking at the dates that have been set for the Premier Soccer League and Women's Premier Soccer League election and what that means. Or be sure to join us for that and a whole lot more when we come back.
Stay connected to DSTV this April and May and get all the football finals you want.
strong brain protector. More power for less money.
Steelmate Investments, your friend in steel, is Zimbabwe's leading supplier of premier quality steel and roofing sheets. We also have a big flat bars, EN range, razor wire, galvanized wire, cranked ridges, expanded metal, and many more products in stock that you might require for any construction projects that you might be embarking on. You can visit us at our Glen Eagles branch, which is at stand number 706 Glen Eagles Road in Harare, or call us on 0787 001 643 up to 6. You can visit our Affirmative branch at number 346 Affirmative Way in Willowvale. You can call us on 0788 930 556 up to 61. We also have branches in Bari at gate number 8 CSO at Magaba, which you can call on 0782 408 415. Our other Bari branch is the Discount Steel branch, which is at number 1 Easterman's Place in Magaba as well. You can call that branch on 0736 439 999. Steelmate Investments, your friend in steel.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We continue with the main news. As the country seeks to consolidate gains achieved in food security, the government has rallied winter wheat farmers to conclude the planting of the cereal crop ahead of this Saturday's 31st of May deadline.
This week marks the final window period for winter wheat planting, with the government calling on farmers to double their efforts to meet the ambitious national target of 120,000 hectares. In an interview with the ZBC News in Harare this Monday, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development, Professor Obed Jiri, emphasized that time is of essence if the country is to ensure food security and build on previous gains.
We want to encourage farmers to continue planting. This window is very important in terms of yields, in terms of evading frost, and also in terms of evading the early rains. So we are encouraging farmers to expedite planting. We know the delays that have happened because of the cold temperatures, which have delayed harvesting of maize for most farmers. But what we have encouraged our partners to do is to ensure that the input seed fertilizer are with the farmers, so that as soon as they harvest, they can plant. We also have ensured that dryers are available for those farmers that were delaying, harvesting their maize. So it's really important that we catch this window for planting.
Government remains committed to supporting farmers through input provision, irrigation support and technical guidance to ensure maximum productivity.
We also would want to assure the farmers that everything is being done to ensure availability of power and also ensure that all the inputs are available. The challenges of water are also taken note of.
This year, government is targeting to produce 600,000 metric tons of winter wheat, riding on effective planning, enhanced government support and favorable weather conditions. Peter Jivima, ZBC News, Harare.
Well, with that report from Peter Chivima, we cross over to our Montreal studios for more news. Marilyn Gwenya, I see, is on standby with more. Marilyn?
Good evening and many thanks to you, Butler. Now, a call has been made for the establishment of value addition plants in Mapisa to support thriving agriculture, mining and tourism sectors in the area.
With Mapisa Growth Point in Matobo District having gone through a remarkable transformation, culminating in its elevation to a town board status, calls for the establishment of value addition industries in the area are getting louder. While gold mines dotted around the district have led to a tremendous development in real estate, the thriving Ada Antwerp estate, with potential to utilize more than 3,000 hectares, is one example of an entity that can industrialize and turn the once small growth point to an employment hub. It is with this in mind that the local authority is implementing government's call to action blueprint as it endeavors to harness local resources to pursue a transformed district.
We want to appreciate Ihulumende ukuthi isinike imapisa ukuthi ibe i-town board.
We have managed to create a planning department as directed by the call to action to create various roads from Zinara funds.
While boasting of more than 500 hectares of winter wheat planted this season, Ada Antelope has had more than 100 hectares of high-quality potatoes crop supplied to Mbare Msika, Simbisa and Bulawayo, hence caused by local leadership for the establishment of milling plants and factories to pursue value addition.
What we ought to do as Matabele South is say, let's have our products sold as add value. For example, I think this wheat, we must go further. Sell it when it's already packed product. 2, seed maize must be packed here. We want to sell it as a feed product. Potatoes, we must also start to have factories, producing chips local. Here in Mapisa, we create employment so that we sell these things as finished products, but at the same time, creating employment.
The Second Republic is on a drive to transform rural communities through promoting rural industrialization. Providence Maranelli, ZBC News, Mapisa.
Members of the Zimbabwe National Army have been rallied to remain disciplined, loyal and vigilant in defending the country's territorial integrity. 489 recruits from ZNA graduated from Imbizo Barracks this Friday after completing their training. The graduates exuded confidence and encouraged colleagues to shun drugs and substance abuse.
Ndingabote kwaloko kujoina Zimbabwe National Army muvumi bwangu tendakazizipe kuti vachisimbi valakonzera kujoina mu Zimbabwe National Army asi ndakabona advert ndakabona kuti vachisimbi valakonzera kujoina babo ndakazojoina kusikira sunu ndamani nsika training yangu
ndakadzidza kurongeka nhoroondo yenyika nekushingirira muupenyu hwangu. Chandinovakurudzira ndechekuti vatange vaenda kuchikoro, vazvibate, vapase kuchikoro, vashingirire, vazopindawo mudzimba, vave kuenda kubasa.
Xosungula ndingatoxiteka nixi yisa kaya kumbe ti-village ta le makaya i discipline na ku ni tikomba ku ni suka ku swekiweni ka poto yintshwa ni ya ka yin'wani ndhawu ni ya kombekisa ku ni hanya njhani na ku ni khomana njhani na lava ni nga to fika ni hanya na vona. So xilo xo sungula u kota ku kuma na vanhu va muganga i discipline.
Commander Zimbabwe National Army Lieutenant General Emmanuel Matatu implored the graduates to go out and practice what they learned and to be of help to communities when need arises.
To you, the recruits, the end of your recruit training today marks the beginning of your careers as soldiers in the army. You will join the ranks of the army and start your service in the various units that you'll be assigned to. This calls for good discipline, loyalty, patriotism, dedicated and selfless service.
As the new recruits embark on their journey as members of the ZNA, they carry with them the weight of responsibility, duty, and patriotism. A Shirugwi mining firm has offered 2 hectares of its mining claims to 200 mining syndicates in a bid to empower the Shirugwi community.
The Shirugwi-based mining company Tobacco Mine, operating as Mutovu Investments, is complementing government's rural industrialization efforts by ensuring previously marginalized communities get empowerment by offering them a place to work without any charges in line with the inclusive development agenda. The mining company's efforts have caught the attention of the local traditional leadership.
Hakuna mamaina ati aita zvinoitwa nababa kuvapa nzvimbo asi takambozvisuggesta patakambosangana namama miners kuti pamunenge mawanawo a certain hectarage itaivo kamwe kapisi kana kuti kadimurwa kamunopawo community kuita kuti vana vaya vawane chekuita.
Tinoda kukwanisawo kutoshandawo tiemployawo vamwe semadzimai, titoemployawo vamwe vana baba vari kuchengetawo mhuri dzavo mushure mekunge tashanda nekuda kwenzvimbo yatakapuwa naDr. Simeli Dube.
Zvanga zvakatooma but nenyaya kuda kwemaini iyi ndakakwanisa kubhadhara mwana wangu registration fee yemasubjects anokwanisa 9 ari kunyora
plus kumba kwangu andina dambudziko rokutoti mari iri kushota patinongonogara pega pega ndikukwanisawo kuwanawo mari inoita kuti ndibatsirikane.
The mine, which directly employs over 150 people, is eyeing to expand its operations.
For this year we are looking at putting up a plant kuti tikwanise kuwana processing plant hombe, and also patiri panapa tiri kutarisira kuti tikwanise kuacquire machemicals outside, spares outside. Atitarisiri kuramba tine mahamamili tete timatarisira kuti toda kushandisa kuita samples, but you can see we've got a ball mill, but it's an old model that we want to refurbish and get a new one.
Joint Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Mines and Mining Development and Women Affairs, Gender and Community Development, which toured the mine, commended the initiative, which they say speaks to inclusive development.
Tazviona kuti women can do it, and tazviona kuti mining is not for the weak, it's for the brave. There are also brave women who can do it, like Dr. Smelly Dube is doing a lot, giving back to the community. Protective clothing, the workers are well protected.
The mining company, which currently contributes an average of 5 kilograms of gold to Fidelity Refiners per month, is eyeing to increase its production capacity to 7 kilograms per month after completion of the expansion project. Tafaraj Kumira, ZBC News, Shorogwe.
Meanwhile, the Zimbabwe Miners Federation has red-flagged illegal chrome mining activities within the Great Dyke area, citing massive environmental degradation, water pollution, and illegal export activities.
From huge machinery conducting operations overnight to makeshift bays for washing chrome, unsustainable chrome mining practices are opening the earth, leaving deep environmental scars that will be difficult to erase. The Zimbabwe Miners Federation has exposed a series of illegal chrome mining activities in the Great Dyke area, covering mostly Impinge, Bigdale, Mvurwi, Amazon, and Guruve. According to the artisanal miners' body, the extent of environmental plunder by illegal chrome miners is alarming.
The new illegal mining that is currently taking place in our country is that of a person who will have been given a mining license and has acquired mining certificates to mine within a specified area, who goes on to mine from an undesignated area, leaving out his designated area, but because it's in the middle of the bush, nothing is immediate in terms of him being found out to be mining from the wrong place.
The trend of irresponsible mining within this sector is affecting many areas across the country, with the Environmental Management Agency highlighting hundreds of kilometers of waterways have been destroyed due to unregulated mining practices. Government has hinted on a tough stance to come after those flouting sustainable mining practices.
There is a lot of mining which is now taking place in a manner which is not responsible. And it's time it has to be stopped, and stopped now. The environment and the community should be happy that mining is taking place, not sad. The moment they are sad, there's something wrong. And this year we have to sort it once and for all.
Government is set to launch the second phase of the Responsible Mining Initiative in July this year, which is expected to tackle head-on some of the indiscipline characterizing the sector. Theophilus Chuma, ZBC News, Harare.
And that report takes us back to Podcast Hill Studios in Harare, where Butler is on standby. Butler, it's back to you.
Great stuff. Thanks a lot, Marilyn Gwenya there and the entire team at our Montrose studios. Now, boarding students at Churchill High School in Harare have been left counting their losses after their hostel was gutted by fire this afternoon.
It never rains but pours for the Churchill Boys High family after one of the school's junior hostels was gutted by fire at a time they're mourning the deaths of two of their teachers. The fire, which emanated from one of the teachers' rooms, is alleged to have been caused by an electrical fault, which resulted in a gas explosion. Students could be seen rummaging from the ashes as they try to salvage the little they could. Churchill High School head Mr. Aquanus Majunga confirmed the fire incident.
Vana vaafektiwa so far is 54. Saka tatu va relocate kuinda ku Spencer. They are in safe hands now, and tomorrow I am sure we will continue with our normal learning. Yeah, my uniforms, my blankets, my mattresses, we need to have those in place at the earliest convenience.
The School Development Association chairperson, Ms. Chipo Mahamba, could not hold back her tears as she narrated how the incident has left the students traumatized.
Our beds, everything, nyangwe chikafu chevana, zvinhu zvatinganyatsa kuti zvavasara nazvo izvezvi zvinhu zviri pamuviri wavo. Of course there are a few things zvatangoti zviite sezvitariswe and zvinhu zviri kurwadza. The building yatodona. Hapana chatinacho, my beds ose atsva. Nearly everything.
As dusk falls, these young boys walk with heavy hearts as the events of the day will forever be a memory that will never be erased. Memory Chamisa, ZBC News, Harare.
And with that story, we take a break, but when we come back, we'll be giving you the business news. Stay tuned.
Stuck on you. Ooh, obsessed with you. I'm obsessed.
With Showmax, your favorite characters now follow you anywhere. Download it today and watch the best in local, international, and everything in between.
Atlas Convention 2025 Global Edition, themed Investing in Africa's Prosperity, will be held in Victoria Falls. Experts from plus 133 countries will gather at this landmark event to explore transnational trade, investment opportunities, academic research insights, and bankable high-impact innovations for Africa. From the business of our bustling cities to the melting pot of African adventure safari.
Bungee jump Victoria Falls.
Take a deep dive into a unique blend of adventure experience, diverse cultures, untouched wildlife, and spectacular nature across Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Botswana. Heads of state and government, private and public sector executives, R&D experts, thought leaders will drive a competitive, modernized, and industrialized Africa. Register today on www.atlasconvention.com. Atlas Convention, bringing African opportunities to the global stage.
The National Social Security Authority (NASA) would like to inform all registered employers of the waiver of penalties related to the late submission of P4 returns. All employers with outstanding P4 submissions penalties for the period January 2024 submitting a formal letter for waiver by 30 June 2025, uploading all outstanding P4 and APWCS contribution and premiums arrears, updating employees' records to match active employees declared against employee listing. This while supporting employers facing financial constraints. For more information, contact any NASA office or numbers appearing on your screen. NASA, a lifelong promise.
The business news. Zimbabwe successfully hosted multiple international events over the past week, with analysts describing them as a major boost to the meetings, incentives, conferences and exhibitions tourism.
As chair of the Southern African Development Community SADC, member countries gathered in Harare for the Transfrontier Conservative Areas Summit aimed at celebrating 25 years of biodiversity conservation, ecotourism and sustainable development in the region. The Harare International Conference Center was a hive of activity last week, and the regional meeting ended with the Heads of State and Government Summit on Friday, presided over by the SADC chairperson, President Emmerson Mnangagwa. A local hotel also hosted the EU-Zimbabwe Business Forum, which opened a new page of relations between the two trading partners, as the inaugural event brought together captains of industry, investors from Zimbabwe who interfaced with several firms from the European Union. The EU ambassador to Zimbabwe, His Excellency Jobst von Ketchman, expressed the confidence the three-day event was ideal to propel trade between Zimbabwe and the EU. The HICC was also the meeting point for the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development in conjunction with the Ministry of Industry and Commerce. And 5 Regional African Sports Awards RASA at the HICC aimed at entrenching sports structures in all regional bodies of the continent. Tourism stakeholders have cited MICE tourism as a key anchor to the recovery of the industry.
Tourism recovery in Zimbabwe at the moment is being driven significantly by MICE, which is the meetings, events, conferences, and this is because, you know, when you are looking at conferences, and we've witnessed quite a number of big international events and meetings taking place in Harare by the international meetings organizers.
These gatherings significantly boost local economies by increasing revenue through accommodation, dining, and transportation. They also attract global attention, enhancing Harare's visibility as a business destination.
Other local events, such as the Chamber of Mines annual conference, were well attended in Victoria Falls. Thus, the past week demonstrated the country's sheer capacity as a force to reckon with in regional and international affairs, with the region and continent having been firmly fixated on Zimbabwe. Owen Mandova, ZBC News, Harare.
Well, it was another exciting week in the Kasolaga Premier Soccer League. How did it fare? Lawrence Tusida is on standby with sport. How was it looking this weekend, Lawrence?
Well, I can tell you that the big boys are slowly coming back. These are the new big boys and not the old ones. Yes, the pace setters are most after narrowing the gap to just 2 points following a comprehensive 3-1 victory over Cape United yesterday.
Simba Bora carried their momentum from a 4-0 victory over Triangle into their match against the Cape United, securing a 3-1 victory and narrowing the gap between themselves and Moles. With the 25 points from 13 games, Simba Bora are now just 2 points behind Moles, who remain unbeaten at the top of the table with the 27 points from 7 wins and 6 draws. The Gobuju boys' impressive form has seen them lose only twice, with the 4 draws and 7 wins in their 13 matches so far. Moles' unbeaten run continues to be a remarkable achievement, but Simba Bora's recent form suggested they are determined to challenge for the top spot. Scotland, who had a dramatic match with the Chicken Inn that was abandoned, are third with the 23 points, while Hirentals are fourth with the 22 points. The top 8 teams are closely packed, with the Tor 1 in 5th place with 21 points, followed by Ngezi Platinum with the 20 points. ZPC Carib and Manika Diamonds round up the top 8 with 19 points each. Meanwhile, Blaue Giants Highlanders are 9th with 17 points, while FC Platinum occupy 11th position, also with 17 points, thanks to the unbeaten run of 2 wins and 11 draws. The relegation zone is becoming increasingly tense, with the Harare Giants, Cape United and Dynamos struggling to find form. Cape United currently sit. Kwekwe United are also in danger. Anna Shomrombedzi, ZBC News, Harare.
For the 25th of July, after the Zimbabwe Football Association announced the roadmap.
With announcement of the dates by the local football mother body. For PSL, candidates will be vying for the chairperson position, 2 deputies and 3 emergency committee roles, while for the Women's League, positions of chairperson, vice and 5 committee members are up for grabs. Important milestone in the renewal of the football structures. The PSL chairperson's position fell vacant after Farai Jere stepped down in December last year to contest a position on the ZIFA board before the tenure subsequently lapsed. For the Women's League, the position has been held by an interim chairperson, Teresa Maguraoshe, since the reconstruction of the league last year.
Moving on now to golf news. Now, the Kwekwe Africa Golf Day Tournament lived up to its billing with over 100 golfers converging at the Kwekwe Country Club.
The prestigious event, held annually in honor of the coming together of the continent's founding fathers, attracted the young and the old from diverse backgrounds. The tournament was a clear testimony that the vision being propelled by the Zimbabwe Golf Association of growing the sport is on course.
We have also junior players coming up, and on our register we have more than 30 players who take part in several competitions across. So growth of the club, we've seen it in leaps and bounds for the past 3 years or so.
Event stakeholders are pleased to support a growing sporting discipline.
Basically, golf has been an elite sport, but of late you find that everyone can be involved in golf, even juniors. So what is happening here at the Kwekwe Golf Club, we're even grooming the juniors to become the champions of tomorrow.
The Kwekwe Africa Day Golf Tournament, an annual event, feeds into the vision of the amalgamation of golf associations in the country, as it attracted members from the Zimbabwe Golf Association, the Zimbabwe Professional Golf Association, as well as the Zimbabwe Ladies Golf Association, in line with the inclusive development approach. Tafara Chikumira, ZBC News, Kwekwe.
From the version of golf that is played with clubs, we move on to the other one that is played by feet, where foot golf is increasing in popularity, with the second edition of the Mashonaland Central Patrons Foot Golf Tournament in Mvurwe this Sunday, attracting 44 participants.
The Africa Day Mashonaland Central Patrons Foot Golf Tournament held in Mvurwe on Sunday showed the growing in popularity of the new sport code after attracting 44 participants, up from 36 last year, among them a Zambian national.
I am a foot golf player from Zambia, and I must say
competition yanga iri stiff, yanga iri tough. Nokuti kana tiri mutambo auzivi kunzwa kufara because this is the first time kuwana a prize. I worked very hard.
The event, a branch out of Mashonaland Central Foot Golf patron Senator 11 campaign.
And in my central, we are already leading and we are not looking back.
The Zimbabwe Foot Golf Association was impressed by the turnout from most provinces.
For the Victoria Falls regional qualifiers, it is also a platform where we are saying we are building up foot golfers who are going to qualify for the Foot Golf World Cup next year in Mexico.
Mashonaland Central Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Christopher Magomo, also graced the event and applauded.
To break ground on this very site, we spoke with hope, ambition and determination. Today, standing here and witnessing the remarkable transformation of this golf course, I am filled with pride and gratitude.
Zimbabwe Foot Golf Association celebrated Africa Day in style by putting to test the country's maiden foot golf course under construction in Mvurwe. Tapiwa Machemedze, ZBC News, Mvurwe.
So foot golf has just eradicated the challenge of expensive clubs. That puts a wrap on sports news. It's now time for the weather.
Good evening, Zimbabwe. Welcome to tonight's weather report and forecast. Hope you had a wonderful long weekend with a beautiful Africa Day. We had a bit of cloudiness over the northwestern part of the country. This suppressed the occurrence of frost over much of the country. It was rather cool in the morning, becoming warmer by afternoon, with that suppression of cloud giving us cloudy conditions over the northern parts of. We were expecting it to get cooler, especially in the morning hours of the country as we get into Friday. But for much of this week, we're expecting generally cool conditions as signified by temperatures above 10 degrees Celsius, but it should get cooler as we get into Friday. By afternoon, we're expecting warm conditions across board. Webula is projected to have a maximum of 24 degrees for much of this week. Also, our minimums above 10. Same for Matopo, we're expecting our minimums to be in the cool category for much of this week. Gwanda also following suit with warmer conditions by afternoon. Gweru slightly cooler as we get into Thursday and Friday, but the afternoon still in the warm category. Same for Masvingo, we're expecting it to be warm by afternoon. Nyanga very cold in the morning. We're expecting a few 5s as we get into Thursday and Friday. Marondera also following suit with the fall of our minimums as we get into Thursday when the clouds start clearing off. For Harare, we're expecting also our maximums to be in the warm category for much of this week. Kwekwe also following suit with just a slight fall of minimums on Thursday and Friday. And Kadoma also expecting just a fall on Friday to 10 degrees Celsius. Same for Chinoi, falling just slightly there on Friday. For Victoria Falls, maintained in the cool category for much of this week. Same for Lupane, just a slight decrease on Friday. For Pinduro, expecting a bit of 9s and 10s there for minimums. For Kariba, mostly in the mild category for much of this week. That's all for our weather and forecast. Has been a pleasure, Zimbabwe. I'm James Koma Jr. for the Met Department.
Thank you very much to the Met Department for giving us the weather report and forecast. And that brings us to the end of tonight's news bulletin from the teams here at Pockets Hill and at Montrose Studios. It's good night.
Good night.